Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by my close friend Ray Clifford, who's in Marysville, Ohio. He just returned from the Jets bar around Columbus, Ohio, where about 20 Jet fans out there celebrating a Jets victory as they come away winning 17-3. And for all you draftniks that think it really makes a difference, trust me, it doesn't. Unless you have a Peyton Manning or a Andrew Luck coming out and you have an option for the first and second pick. With that said, Ray, how are you doing?
Good. I mean, I didn't at this point. I didn't care about draft position. I wanted to beat the Patriots and break that streak, and I wanted to send Bill off on a high note for the Jets. So got got both my wishes. So to me, that was all I needed.
Yeah, at any time did you think that the game possibly was in doubt the way it was going?
Several times. The main one, the main one being when Ashton Davis pulled his stunt after his
Oh my
interception.
God,
I
what is he
thought, okay,
doing?
this is going to be this is it. They're going to drive down and score a touchdown and win the damn game. But it didn't. They kept playing and they played hard, and they got to Zappy, so that was good.
Yeah, yeah, and there's some. I watched the post game show, Ray, and it didn't sit with me right because it was almost a fait accompli. They said that Bryce Huff won't be with the team next year. Now I'm not sure of that, and I'll be honest with you. If the tag is like 17.1 million or 17.2 million, I might franchise him. I know it's a lot of money, but I think he's become very valuable. He had about 3 or 4 weeks. We know that he was quiet, but if you look at the whole, he's a heck of a player. So I was a little taken aback by that. I know on the post-game show, Bart Scott addressed it, so did Willie Colon. Connor Rogers did also. And, ideally, I'd like to see him back. I'd like to see the three-man rotation coming back with Will McDonald, with Jermaine Johnson, with Bryce Hall. I'm sure they'll pick up a veteran, a player, not the player, but a player like uh, who's a Curry they picked up a few years ago. He was hurt.
Vinny Curry.
A player
Here's
like
my-
that, a
Yeah.
veteran, kind of at the back nine of his career. But that was the one negative I had. And Ray, I just want to give you an observation, and maybe I'm wrong. I happen to think he hasn't lit it up, but I think that Trevor Simeon has looked more and more comfortable and played his way into becoming a backup. I know Ralph said maybe a lower tier backup, but he made some pretty good passes. He made some dumb passes. So I want your opinion on Trevor Simeon now as a backup.
Um, just depends on who's available that they might get. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind keeping them, but um, I think we could do a little better. I just don't know if we can afford it, depending on what we're going after and what we do in free agency. I mean, that'll probably affect a lot of Bryce Huff too, because I don't think they have a ton of cap space. So they're gonna they're gonna have to make a decision. But I'm believing he'll probably be gone. But if they can keep him, I'd like it. Huff, I mean, not Simeon. Simeon, I think, that's fine, but I'd like a guy who can go in there and actually possibly, pull out a win when we need him to. I don't know that Simeon's that guy, but we can do worse. Obviously, we have, but uh, I'd like to see both those guys back, but I don't think we'll see Huff. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
don't think they'll have the money, especially if they go after a top offensive lineman in free agency or another wide receiver in free agency. We've already got too much locked up in Allen Lazard. So
right. And
um,
Ray, talking about the offensive line, I know the conditions were not ideal. It was brutal up in Foxborough. With that said, though, except for like the bad snap by a second string center, I guess that was Xavier Newman. Is that who it was, Ray?
I thought it was Carter.
Carter. Warren Carter.
Maybe it was Newman. Yeah, maybe it was Newman, I guess.
Yeah.
Xavier Newman. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the offensive line played too bad. I mean, I want to know your thoughts. I don't think Trevor Siemian was sacked, was he?
I don't remember him being sacked. I know
Oh,
he was
I was
pressure.
just looking at, he was sacked once, but go ahead. What do you think of the offensive line?
Oh no, not bad. I mean, in conditions like that, I think they have the advantage over a defense as far as, because you're not trying to push forward, you're just trying to hold them off. I think that weather condition is an advantage to the offensive line as far as pass blocking. Run blocking, it's probably just the opposite. But I thought they did well. They opened up some holes for Brees. They protected him better than we've seen a lot of games. It was just crappy conditions all around. So, I never got an update. Maybe you can tell me what the latest was on Garrett Wilson.
Haven't heard, but he did walk on off the field on his own.
Yeah,
So
but he headed right to the tent.
yeah, so I take it it's some sort of concussion or concussion protocol where at this time during the year it doesn't mean that much. You mentioned, let me just go through quickly. We scored a field goal. We traded field goals. The second quarter was 6-3, but it was without a doubt the Brees Hall show. I think he's our best player. I saw one play where he picked up a blitz, and I don't remember who the number was, but he flattened the guy. He's an all-around player. He plays hard on every play. He plays with a lot of pride. I love Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson has a tendency to drop a ball right in his hands, or he'll fumble it once in a while. They're both high quality players, high quality people, but it's very rarely do the Jets get a player like Brees Hall. What were your thoughts on Brees Hall, Ray?
I couldn't believe anybody got 100 yards rushing, and he did. I think he came up just short of 1,000 on the
I
year.
I don't know the total. I think there was a miscalculation or something. He rushed, carried 37 times for 178 yards.
Yeah,
And I guess he had that long touchdown run, which was beautiful, which
yeah,
Jet fans are getting used to. It was a 50-yard run. We either see that when he springs a run for a touchdown or he springs a screen pass for a touchdown. It's becoming almost a regular thing with this guy. There were like 4 or 5 games in the middle of the season, Ray, where he didn't look the same. Remember, we were talking about that?
yeah.
But he comes back full force next year. If they could, solidify the offensive line, it'd be great. The third quarter, I don't think there was any scoring. Let me just see. No, there wasn't. And in the fourth quarter, uh, there was another field goal by the Jets, and we scored a touchdown on a 50-yard run. And we got a 2-point conversion on Brees Hall, scored 11 points. The final score is 17-3. We shut out the Patriots in the second half. No matter who comes back as a Patriots coach, Ray, they're going to have to draft a quarterback. They're going to have the second or third pick, I believe, but they got to go quarterback the way that the organization is set up.
Are they that high? Did they move back up?
Um,
They were at second until they beat who was it, Denver? Then they were down around fourth or fifth.
oh, they are?
No, that's where, after the, I believe, Denver game, but
Well,
since then, I don't know if
okay.
it's changed.
Rather than speculating, we're going to have an award show later in the week, so we'll go over the draft order. Whether it's second, third, or fourth or fifth, they need a quarterback in the worst way. And I'm not sure. Everyone's saying it's Bill Belichick's last game as the Patriot coach. I'm not fully convinced, but if you put a gun to my head, I would say it was. And it was nice seeing him lose that game. My only negative was because of conditions, I wish that guy's face wasn't covered just so I could see his
Yeah, I
mug.
think he made sure of that too.
Yeah, walking across the field. Did you notice how Kraft got out of the owner's box so quick after the loss?
No,
Yeah,
it was good to see, that
he did
we
because
not
they,
only, finally broke the string, but we did it in New England, which was even better. Uh,
right, right,
so no, I was fine. I wasn't convinced until Brees scored that touchdown that we were gonna end up actually winning the game. I was just like, oh God, what
right.
a miracle comeback to, the cherry on top of the Bill Belichick career again, especially against the Jets would have been.
Yeah. And where would this team be this year without Greg Zuerlein, Ray?
Oh, yeah. Or Morstead, who
Yeah,
flipped the field a bunch of times. I mean, those, I said in one other show, our best players were our kickers at that time. That was early in the year, but
right.
they pretty much were all year.
Yeah,
Brees had games where he was good, and Garrett Wilson had games where he was good. But if you talk game in and game out, our kickers were, didn't really have a bad game.
yeah. I just made a few notes. It was, there wasn't a lot happening in the game. In the first quarter, there's a third down play. Not an easy catch, but Xavier Gibson has got to make that catch. He like almost caught it, and then he almost caught it on the bobble. And I've been pushing him to possibly be a number two receiver. I think I was wrong. I don't think he could be a number two receiver at this point. But if he is going to be in the receiving discussion as a third or fourth, he's got to make those catches. In the third quarter, Garrett Wilson dropped a perfect pass for Simeon. I don't know, Ray, if you remember that. Was he turning his head or did he just miss it?
I think it just, that I always talk about those gloves and saying they aren't really, I'm not as impressed by the great catches you see because of these gloves they wear, but I'm not sure how those gloves are in really cold weather. So I'm wondering if, instead of a better grip, it makes it worse. But it looked to me like it just hit him in the hands and popped right back out. And he could have been, starting to turn his head, but it didn't look like the kind of thing where usually when you say they're running before they got the ball and it's pretty obvious. That one to me just looked like
Right.
just didn't hang on.
Yeah, also in the third quarter, Julius Peppers got a penalty for targeting Garrett Wilson. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was I looked the first view, I didn't realize how he hit him until they showed the replay.
right.
That was pretty bad.
The same way here. And I think within the same play, one and two plays, Garrett Wilson went off the field and so did Joe Titman, which was not a good sign. And Ray, when you become a good friends, you start thinking the same way. You're like 600, 700 miles away from me. We're thinking the same thing. They have a brand new center in
Yeah.
on almost blizzard conditions, and they have him in the shotgun, sitting in the shotgun. And we're saying, and we said it out loud before the snap, why not put him over the center? And sure as you're sitting there holding your cat,
Yeah.
that hike goes right over his head. It was like a infield fly, and it was
Yeah.
just I'm just screaming. I was like beside myself. Your thoughts, Ray?
Well, when we were at the bar and, they took Tipman off, I saw, now granted, he might have been doing all kinds of snaps, but the only view I saw of Simeon was taking snaps uh, from the center. What was his last name?
Newman or Tippman?
Xavier, what was that? Xavier Warren?
Newman.
Newman.
Carter
Yeah.
Warren, Xavier Newman.
Carter Warren, Xavier Newman.
Yeah. Warren's the right
He was
tackle.
taking snaps from as if he was under center when they were
Right.
practicing on the sideline. Now, granted, the camera wasn't on the whole time. Maybe he did some as, shotgun style snaps too. I don't know. But all I could think when I saw him line up for that first play and my Jeff, my buddy, was right next to me. I said, "Why I don't know why they're not lining up under center on this play." And then the snap happened, and I had texted you the same thing, and it just made no sense. I mean, common sense tells you let the guy get in the game for a few plays and kind of get comfortable. There was
Right.
no, any play that he called, he could have called another version of it from under center. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know what he had called because it went over his head and he just jumped on the ball. I don't know if he was calling a pass play or what he was doing, which would have been the other thing I would have questioned. You're going to put a new guy in there and then call a pass play where he's going to have to pass block right off the bat. I don't know. I kind of question Hackett now a lot, but
Yeah. In the fourth quarter, I got to kick the announcer. There was like a reverse. The Patriots. I don't know if you caught it. I know you were at a bar. Jalen Rieger or Roger on the Patriots
uh-huh.
made a nice run, and the guy announcer saying, "Look at Xavier Gibson go." He finally apologized. He said he made a mistake too. I thought that was funny. Ray, I wrote you a text in the fourth quarter. I said, I don't understand what Nathaniel Hackett is doing sometimes. I really don't. They're in 4th and 1, and he goes shotgun. And it's kind of, you're narrowing down the play call when you do that. When you have 4th and 1, why not go over the center? Because you already had a quarterback sneak for the first down. So why take that out of the repertoire of the defense to guess? I just don't understand that, Ray, what Nathaniel Hackett is doing.
I didn't understand that call at all because not only was he in shotgun, then they handed off to Brees on this. I don't know if it was pick your hole or what, but it seemed like it was one that went around the end and was slow to. I'm like, you just needed a yard. Why didn't you just, you know, if you don't make it, fine, but just go up the middle, shove it up the middle, and just get your yard and keep going. That irritated me too. I'm not sure Hackett has a lot of common sense. I think he just thinks in terms of his offense and go from there and doesn't really, you know, have a great grasp of the simple play is sometimes the best one.
Right. It just didn't make sense to me. And then we got to the game, I guess. I don't know what you call it. You call it knock hockey or something, where there was no turnovers, and there were like 2 or 3 within a few seconds. Ashton Davis makes a beautiful interception, and the stupid guy, instead of just falling down and just eating it, just saying that I'm not going to go any further, he's running. And I didn't realize that the announcer said it. He did try to flip the ball
Yeah,
back. I don't know if it was to Source Gardner or what. What
no,
a
it was.
what a stupid mistake. Of course, the Patriots recovered the fumble. And at that point, Ray, I got so nervous. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the play I was referring to when I said he turns that over, and my thought is, here we go, the big miracle finish to celebrate Bill and everything. And I didn't know he tried to lateral it to Sauce either until I saw the replay. And then you saw, how he right when he was bringing it down to lateral, it was when the guy hit his arm and he fumbled. And I actually thought he got it back at first. I mean, they weren't really signaling. They're both laying there, and I thought he got it. He got it. And then the ref came up and pointed the other way. And then I saw the replay and I'm like, why were you even thinking about lateraling? And it kind of the odd thing was then they showed him standing next to Quincy, and they're both kind of laughing. I think he was telling him what he was trying to do. And I just thought, you guys are joking around and you just gave them their best chance at going down and winning. I was irritated. But then a couple plays later, it became a moot point.
Ray, nothing bothers me more when I see a bad play and then I see smiles on the guys' faces on the sidelines. So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
They were just basically running the ball. In fact, Simeon only passed the ball 20 times. And finally, Brees Hall breaks one 50 yards.
Yeah.
It was game, match, and set. And on that play, I guess it was Nick Bowden threw a great block at the end, Ralph's man. And the Jets end up winning 17-3. And I thought, I said, Ray Clifford is going to go to sleep with a smile on his face.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, would have been better if it was like 40-3, but I'll take it. I'll take that anyway. We could get it. The thing that I thought was funny and was the after the play by Ashton Davis where he fumbled. A couple plays later, we picked him off again, and he looked like he was going to get up, and like 5 Jets went over and just held him.
Tony Adams got
Push
the
him down
interception.
and said,
Yeah.
"No, you're
I'm
not going to
yelling.
win."
I'm yelling at the TV screen. Stay down, stay down, stay
He
down.
looked for a second like he was going to try and get up when nobody had touched him, and they ran over and just all kind of pushed him down. It was funny.
You got to understand the field conditions you're
Yeah.
playing in, and the chances
Well,
of you fumbling and slipping or whatever are increased.
even Ashton Davis returning the punt a little way was fine with me, but I just was like, just when the guy gets close to you, slide, go down. When the guy comes close to tackling you, I don't mind you getting a few yards, but don't give the ball back. And
Right.
so
Yep. Just a couple of stats, Ray. Trevor Simeon, 8 for 20, 70 yards, 1 sack. Don't knock that fans. He had at least one drop. The conditions were horrible for passing. I'll just mention Bailey Zappi was 12 for 30 with 2 interceptions and 7 sacks, which was great.
Yeah, they got to him.
Yeah. Brees Hall, 37 carries, 178 yards, 1 touchdown. Izzy had 3 carries for 6 yards. Garrett Wilson, 2 receptions, 34. Tyler Conklin, 2 for 16. Brees Hall, 2 for 12. Randall Cobb had 1 for 4. Xavier Gibson, 1 for 4. Keep in mind that Alan Lazard, Ray, was a healthy scratch for this game. I know he's very close to Aaron Rodgers, and I know he's under a guaranteed contract. It wouldn't shock me though if they tried to go on without him somehow, and I don't know if they could. Do you think
No,
that's?
either, but
I'm sorry.
I think it's possible. I don't know that they will. I mean, I think it'll come down to numbers, and they'll crunch them and see if it makes sense that they do, or if they can find a team that maybe would take him and we pay part of it instead of all of his salary. We'll see, but I think it's going to come down to, do they think they can handle the number that it'll hit them with if they cut him? I can't imagine them sticking with him, but who knows? They might.
Yeah. On
But
the, go ahead, Ray.
they did. Cobb did get another. Cobb had another catch.
He
Maybe
did.
it was
I
his
mentioned
last
that.
game.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, I like Cobb. I mean, I think he gives more of an effort than Lazard. I just think, without a doubt, Lazard has more ability.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But Cobb, he definitely gives an effort for his ability. On the defense, Quincy Williams, he had a pretty good game, 8 tackles, 4 solo. Jamie Sherwood had 8 tackles, 4 solo, one
I saw
tackle
him
for
on the
loss.
field a lot.
I
Was
thought he was
he hurt,
really
or did they
good.
just decide to play him?
I don't know what it was. But I don't know what he drank for
That was good.
last night. He was terrific.
Yeah.
So Jamie Sherwood, he's been on and off this year. He'll have some good games and he'll disappear. I know we've made fun of him. Mosley had 7 tackles, 3 solo. Ashton Davis, 5 tackles, 3 solo. Sauce Gardner, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Boy, Sauce Gardner wants to play. That guy's a great player.
Yeah.
And he tackled today also, Ray. You know that?
Yeah, he can. I mean, he's not like Dion was kind of like an Ole tackler, but Dion was great in so many other things. You couldn't take him off the field by any means, but he wasn't a guy who tackled very much or very well. But
Yeah.
Sauce can tackle. He didn't show it early, but he got back into his groove after about 2 or 3 games and was the Sauce we remembered. They got some decisions to make on guys. I'd like to know what they want to do with Mosley, because I mean, he's not going to be easy to replace, even though, I mean, he's not at the peak of his athletic career. He's on the backside of it, but his numbers still say he's still able to do it. So he's going to be a tough one to replace if they don't sign him to some kind of contract.
If
Uh,
the Jets somehow trade back and recoup their second-round pick, let's say go down, fall to the middle of the first round, where they could still get a good offensive lineman, I would think that the Jets in the second or third pick would pick a linebacker, and there are a few out there. And
yeah.
if I was Joe Douglas, I would try to sign him, of course, at a cheaper number, and I think he might like to come back, but we'll have to see.
It'd be nice if he had one year as a Jet where they actually won something, and maybe even made the playoffs.
Right.
I feel bad for some of these guys who, when they came here, thought they were, at the beginning of a rebuild and we'd be in the playoffs by now. And oy,
Yep.
it's got to be difficult. It's tough enough for us. I can't imagine what it's like for them.
Yep. Queen of Williams, the guy was phenomenal. I mean, you just see his presence. 95. I mean, he just penetrates the guy. Nobody's double team more than Queen and Williams. He had 3 tackles, 2 solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. The guy is outstanding. DJ Reed, he let up a big pass, Ray. I said the last few weeks he has been playing great. I don't know if there's an injury that we don't know about. We liked him the first half of the year. The second half, he hasn't been as effective. Michael Carter, 3 tackles, 2 solo. Uh, Bruce Hector, 3 tackles, 1 solo. I don't even know who he is.
Came off the practice squad because I didn't know who he
I
was.
know.
We had
Brian,
him and somebody else either made a tackle for loss or a sack, and I was like, "Who is that?" When did we
right.
pick him up? I don't remember his name.
Jalen Holmes is what you think.
Yeah. Oh,
He had a sack. Yeah. Bryce Huff, 2 tackles, 2 solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss.
hmm.
Will McDonald, 2 tackles, and he was credited with a sack. I don't know if that was 100% his, though. I don't even remember it. Uh, Jermaine Johnson, 2 tackles, 1 sack, a tackle for loss. I mentioned Jalen Holmes. And let's see, Greg Zerline, 3 for 4, having an outstanding year. Thomas Morstead, 7 punts, and his long was 59 yards. The Jets win 17-3. Ray, I think it's a good way to end the season. Again, for all you Jets draftniks, I'm telling you, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Think about all the players we picked in the first round with Vernon Golston and all these other guys. It just don't get hung up on that. You want to go out a winner like they did. You want to go out, the players are feeling good. If they're borderline players, you want to bring them back. Before we go on, Ray, I just want to do a couple of shout outs. The first one isn't a happy one. There, during a press conference, you saw Robert Sala wearing a sweatshirt for I guess St. Peter's High School in Staten Island. The coach and the athletic director, Mark Cristoforo, who's a great guy. Unfortunately, New Year's weekend, it was a house fire, and his daughter, Rory De Cristoforo, lost her life. And it was just a horrific thing. Everyone was concerned about that in New York. So our hearts go out to the De Cristoforo family. A couple of other shout outs, though. I want to do a shout out to Lenny at Munoz Deli in Pearl River, New York, a great deli. He's a huge Jet fan. And I want to do a shout out to Vinny at DNV up in Rockland County. He has a repair shop and he's a huge football fan, not necessarily a Jet fan, but he always asks me how the Jets are doing. So to those 2 guys. Ray, any other thoughts before we close this out? I just want to touch upon the New Orleans Atlanta game, and I'll try to describe what I know. Uh, New Orleans is, I guess, playing Atlanta. I don't know where's the game at. I'm trying to look it up right now. And was it a game that Atlanta had to win for the playoffs, Ray?
Um, I don't think there was anything on the line for the game, to be honest with you.
Oh, so neither team is in the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. The Tampa Bay got the NFC South. I
Right,
don't I don't know if Atlanta was in if Tampa Bay lost,
right.
but I thought what I read said there wasn't anything on the line, but I could be wrong.
Okay, and the score was 48-17, and the controversy was at the end. The Saints got into a victory formation at Atlanta's, I guess, 1 or 2 yard line. And from that formation, they decided to hand the ball off in for a touchdown. And at the end of the game, I guess Smith, who's what's his name?
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith almost went after, I guess, is it Allen? Is it Jared Allen, the coach of?
No, it's um Brian, not something not Jared. It's
But his name's Allen?
yeah, I might be able to find it here. Uh,
Dennis Allen.
Dennis, yes.
Yeah, so he went after, almost over after, and you see the screaming. You could look at it on the YouTube or Twitter. It'll come up. And Ray, that was a terrible thing that Dennis Allen did. There's absolutely no need to do that. That's like a Belichick doing that against the Jets. I remember when they were
Yeah,
putting up the score like three. I guess it was Salah's first year, if you remember
yeah.
that. They were
That's the other reason I wanted us to blow them out, but I knew that wasn't going to happen in that weather. But the thing that I thought was odd was I'd like to know what Dennis Allen was saying to him because he was actually looking like he was a little surprised at how Arthur Smith was was so pissed, and I'm like, well, what did you think he was going to say? But you could see he was just, it looked like he was trying to explain himself, but I'm not sure what you could have said that would have made that okay. But I'm sure he'll keep that in mind for next year as long as he's still the coach.
I don't think he's gonna be a coach, Arthur Smith. Do you?
Maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that was part of the frustration. It was a culmination of what he did to him and the frustration of losing his job. We'll find out tomorrow. I guess it's Black Monday.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Jet game, Ray, as the Jets close out the season 7-10, beating the Patriots 17-3. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't want to say it was ugly. The conditions were horrible. You know, one thing, Ray, about the game, and I actually told my wife, I said they're winning 6-3, but I said the good news is the conditions are getting worse and worse. It's getting
Yeah.
colder, it's getting windier, but you never know with the Jets. But go ahead, Ray.
No, I was waiting for one big play by uh, New England to kind of score a tie. I just was like, they're going to score a touchdown. I
Right,
just was convinced they would. But when we held them to a field goal on the one drive they scored on, that gave me some confidence. And we seemed to be getting pressure on Zappy pretty much every time he dropped back,
yes,
which was good.
we did. We
Um,
got a
so I
lot.
mean, to me, I mean, I don't think, like you said, I don't think a spot or two, unless you're at the very top of the draft where you have a lot of options as to who to pick and if you want to trade it, what you'll get. Not that you wouldn't get a lot for wherever we're picking in the upper part of the first round, but if you're in those first 1, 2, 3 picks, you get a boatload for anything when you trade it. But
Right.
but other than that, no, it was just good to go on a high note. Little shout out to the boys at the and gals at the bar for showing up. It was an easy game to say, when there's nothing on the line, I'm not going. And we had a good turnout, all things considered, with between the weather and nothing on the line. We had the guys showed up. We got some new members this year, and hoping next year we can just keep growing it. But you know what will help do that is to win. So let's
Right.
win.
Absolutely. All right, Ray, we're going to close this out. We're going to have an award show later this week. We're going to get together with Ralph and, we'll go through the Jets' most valuable, most overrated, most underrated, um, all these different awards we have. And I always look forward to that. So it should be good. And I
Yeah.
think it's obvious, Ray, too. Just one list. I think we've seen the last of Zach Wilson. And
I can't imagine him being back. I think it's better for him to get out of there. We said that before too. Oh,
yeah,
one thing there was one play I meant to, real quick, we can talk about was when I got to the bar, we had a 1st and 10 on the 10-yard line. That's how far into the game it was before I got there. And I don't know how we got, I guess we made an interception. We started out on like their 38. So it's not like we had a long drive. But did you or did you not think that was interference on Conklin on that pass to the corner of the end zone? Because I thought he ran right into him and it was
uh,
a catchable ball to
I
me.
I think it was, but to me, unless there were obvious penalties,
They were letting him play.
I think they're letting them play under the
They
condition.
sure were. They could
That
have made some calls both ways throughout that game. They
that
did.
was yeah, that was my opinion. Did you see the way BB was playing the referees?
Oh yeah, he was mad about some call. Did they pick up a flag on one play?
They
The
did
play
on
said
one play. They
flag, and
did,
then
yeah.
I couldn't hear him say anything, so I don't know
But
why I couldn't hear the volume.
But I don't want Salah to become like BB, but he's got to be more forceful, especially before the whistle shout goes off to start the game. He's got
Yeah,
to tell them. He's got to play these referees. It's part of the game.
yeah.
That's the way it is these days. All right, so we're going to close that for Ray Clifford and Marty Schupak. Ralph Schrager will be back later this week. Make sure if you're out there, if you want this format to continue, please give us a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. And we also like comments. You could comment on anything, Marty's attire, Ray's cats, anything you want to do. So for Ray Clifford and Marty Schupak, until next time.